right now. Off we go once again onto the Rift. We've had some crazy games in this one already, but T1 now making a lot of people believers, I suppose. When you win a 21-minute game, that is definitely a statement game. Now you can say what you want about Damon's draft and how they played and how Showmaker was basically a non-factor, but I mean, to take a lead like that and snowball it that quickly, it takes a lot of skill.
I mean, we talked a lot about the power of what Damwon-Kia's draft could have accomplished. It just didn't happen, right? They fell behind, and it's hard to win games from there with that draft. In this particular game, I think one of the big saving graces, as Chronicler pointed out heading into the game, was, we're going to see a bit of a trait here, is Faker is on the rise, and he is going to be able to, if Khan overextends or gets too aggressive topside, punished with Realm Warp very effectively. We saw the Twisted Fate ban come through, so there was no way to kind of counter that pressure with a similar roaming champion in the mid lane for Showmaker. So I do like the idea here, because once again we're seeing Damwon-Kia prioritize this topside control so much. They do so once again here with the Jace, and if you can match that rotation from Canyon as owner, have Faker Realm Warp up there, win the war of attrition there, win that numbers game, it's a great way to get ahead.
And on the bot side, I think, unlike the second game in particular, where we did see Ghost and Barrow have a really tough time, it didn't amount to that much outside of lane, but it was still a suitable punish. I think that now scripts kind of flipped. I think that actually punishing this Ashe and Seraphine lane is going to be really hard for T1, and I wonder to what extent you're going to be able to actually cut through the health bars. Once Damwon-Kia later in the game starts grouping up, has the sustain that the Seraphine has available for you, and then consistently going to poke. And a lot will fall on Kana's shoulders here to actually reliably find the engages, because he is the main form, right? Yes, you can find a flank, maybe with Faker. If someone oversteps, Guma can hit a corrupting chain, but generally shouldn't happen. Okay,
there you go.
There are two people that win on Rise, apparently, and it's two people that are in this game.
They're on a win streak, 6 in a row. That's what that graphic says, and
yeah. By the way, talking about not only wins, but kills, Showmaker is currently on 998 kills. We discussed that at the beginning of the day. We can get back to that, as Kana really trying to force this fight, making it very obvious that owner could be on the top side of the map. And maybe the bait actually works.
This is what I'm talking about. You overextend, you get punished.
And here we go. The flash will come out already, as owner just being a menace up here in the top side. So annoying to deal with that with the lane pushing away from you.
And now you're calling for Canyon. Khan is in disarray, needs to respect owner. Happy that Canyon is pathing up, because if Khan cannot get that shove and Khan is able to just keep the wave in a disadvantageous spot, you're in a terrible situation. Canyon doesn't even need to get anything done here, just to make sure that his top laner, as we see here, is covered, is in that threat, can get that bounce and then safely back. So disaster averted, especially with Canyon also picking up with the Scuttle on the bot side of the map. Still though, the Flash Force is nice, because it does mean that post 6, the 2v1 potential with that Flash Body Slam is terrifying.
Yeah, not to mention the Realm Warp potential once Faker gets that online too, and this is exactly what T1 are planning with this weak side Gragas. So we've seen find so much success in the past, especially in Spring, honestly, here in the LCK, where you have this ability to punish someone who's trying to harass this Gragas, especially post 6, because he's such an easy punish champion.
Here's Faker, by the way, up in the top side, sneaking around in the enemy jungle, doing an incredible amount of damage. And we just get a solo kill onto the Jace. First blood goes over to Kana.
Pre-6, he doesn't have 6.
Yeah, and that's just, again, kind of greeting for minions, it looks like, up here on the top side, and having that pressure is enough.
Faker's going to stay. No flash for Khan. Okay. He's going to have to head back. Well, that was pretty tense for a moment there. And this is massive. You already got the flash from Khan. Now you've got a really nice tempo advantage here as Kana. Hasn't even backed yet. Faker's messing around with this idea. If he had 6, he would love to go in, but he does not.
Oh.
Ooh, that's really nice. For Kana, that is, obviously.
So
if you are Khan, you feel very unfortunate. And yeah, there we see the importance, right? Khan doesn't actually get the wave shoved in. Think he's fine because Canyon is there, but love the teleport from Faker there. Even pre-6 ties into the power that he has, enabling the rest of his team. And because Khan is forced to shove in his waves kind of in a very disadvantaged position, has no mana, has no health, love the confidence from Kana to go for that. And really nice punish by T1. Faker enabling his top side this early on, even without a Realm Warp.
Yeah. One of the points of the match we had was that Khan is somewhat of a killer of T1, right? When he wasn't on old SKT, which it was called at the time, I believe, whatever team he was on, he would always take wins against SKT and T1. But maybe Kana is the Dom1 killer. Who knows? As we are having Owner on the run here, Showmaker level 6. They should know that the Gragas is here, and now Faker kind of corralling them up against this wall. Canyon is going to have to flash, it looks like, as a lot of damage comes out, and Canyon's still around here. The stun coming in. He wants to wait until the last possible moment, but again, they get another flash out of Canyon as Shock Blast, not enough, and they're not able to stop it. The flash committed to here by Showmaker, and they cannot stop the recall.
It's such a great block there. Coming out from Kana, he knows that's going to happen, so he's just going to take one for his team. They get the back off there. The flash commitment there is a bit overzealous, and that's another summoner down here early for Dom1 Kia. 60 seconds before this Rift Herald spawns, you don't want to be losing tools like that. Few mismatched micros here from Dom1 Kia, or rather macros, in terms of dealing with these rotations is costing them big.
And while I don't think that it is necessarily something that is going to set Dom1's team come so far behind,
it's the block.
So yeah, not only that, but it really plays into, you got to imagine, you're Dom1, right? Your last game, it was just a disaster as a whole. This is like the third play that they try to go for. It doesn't work out.
나이스. 굿.
He was saying thank you before it even happened.
Yeah, and then he was saying nice and good, so he was saying, yeah, you guys can get out of there as well. So it was utmost confidence, I guess, from Faker that he was going to get out of that one.
In terms of this upcoming Rift Herald fight, a lot of this early game is going to be defined by it. Nice root goes down there, but how much grouping do you do as T1 here? You don't have Faker's teleport, but you do have the Realm Warp available, and that means you can actually wait and warp up the bot lane late, so you could start it early. But the top lane is pushed in from Khan here, so a little bit tricky. That's why neither team rotates in just yet.
Yeah, Khan knows. There's some pings going down. Faker, again, looking for that Realm War play, but good read there by Dom1 Kia. Recognize what is going on and might go and trade the Drake for Herald. Don't know if they're going to be in a position to actually contest that top side.
Doesn't look like it at this point in time. Khan just being left alone up there. And it looks like, you know, there is vision on this dragon, but Canyon's still going to start it up. They have faith that nobody on the side of T1 really going to contest this.
This is perfect for T1. You get the Rift Herald for free because of the Realm Warp power. This is part of the reason why Rise is so strong. And the Drake, you know, gets slowed, it gets delayed. So, yes, it looks like they are going to take it, but look at the extra power here on the top side of the map. Bot just sits pretty. And Faker, the threat of Faker up here on the top side means Khan has to sit back and wait. Extra plate comes through, they get the Rift Herald gold, and T1 with a nice lead in this early game.
Cute deny there as well by Kana as, Khan.
Here we go again. Khan's gonna get flash stunned, and he will flash away from this one, but is there enough damage? As he's trying to just kite this one out, he knocks him into the arrow, are you kidding me? And that's enough to keep him safe. Baker will be able to secure that kill eventually, you'd have to imagine, and there it does go, but man, the teamwork that comes into that one is kind of insane.
Cinematic.
Beautiful. We're going to see a replay of that one a bunch of times.
Showmaker gets his 1,000th kill off of that play. Gotta love it. Congratulations, the quickest player to hit 1,000 kills ever in the LCK.
And that's an insane stat if you think about the caliber of players that we have, right? Greatest player of all time, not as fast. Legends like Chovy, not as fast.
BDD.
Yeah, it says a lot about how special Showmaker truly is. And that play might have such big repercussions for T1, because I do think that Showmaker on a Fed LeBlanc is one of the surefire ways where T1, if you make single mistakes in the mid to late game, which we've seen them do one misposition, Showmaker is the type of player that finds the opening no matter how small it is.
Keria is coming all the way up here right now, and this is very greedy once again from T1. The reward can be quite high if they pull it off.
Oh, Showmaker doesn't have TP.
Buddy is up here. Showmaker, he is desperately trying to get that CV back right now, but look at the Braum ult is going to catch the both of them. This is looking dire. T1, it will pay off, although they're only going to be able to get the one, and now here comes Showmaker. The Shock Blast misses, because that one was nearly lined up for him. The cast comes in, and that's going to be Kana just putting him in the trash. Down he does go, and the arrow will just sail wide. It doesn't amount to anything, and Barrel's left all alone here. He will have to flash, and Kana is still chasing after them.
What a performance from Kana tonight. In both of these games, he's had phenomenal performances, first on the Cannon, now on the Gragas. And, you know, T1 fans have been really critical of performance all year long, and even going back as far as last year. And he is coming up big in their most important match here.
Oh.
The turret stays alive somehow. After all of that, Damwon desperate to try to get up to the top side and stop this turret from going down, and I suppose they did that, but not much else to say for them.
Still disastrous turn of events, right? So much gold going over into the pockets of T1 as, yeah.
This is going to be the knock into the arrow. It's perfect because it also denies him the chase there. And he's stunned under turret.
And after such a nice mechanical play, it's so cool to see T1 not stop for a second and identify we are in a major advantage here. There is no way for Damwon Kia to actually assist any of these players, and they commit as hard as they do with the utmost confidence that if that Shock Blast hits, the entire course of this play might go differently, but instead, Showmaker tries and make a play, gets blown up, Barrel is just a few seconds too late.
And critically, if they do get Showmaker's teleport and they don't think they can follow on this play, they can walk out, they still get a teleport, but not only do they get his teleport, Faker doesn't have to use his, but they also get the kills. They get a ton of extra gold. They have a huge tempo advantage in this game. As you can see, the 11th now in current LCK players. I believe it was 19th total in LCK history, but the fastest. Look at the legends that are with them up there.
Carry is becoming an engaged support, it looks like, on this one, as a huge encore comes in, but there's zero follow-up. T1 just too far ahead. Showmaker's not going to dive into that. The Trundle, of course, not able to. Ghost not there, and so Kana now just roaming with this team. He already took down the turret before 14 minutes, so you might as well.
I mean, this is such a top-sided series we are watching right now in all 4 games. It has really been dictated by who gets ahead topside, and this time, once again, it's Kana. But the plays they are making as a unit across the map together is what T1 has been succeeding with. I know I sound like a broken record with this, but this is just how great they are at macro, and Faker's going to look for another play here. The collapse comes through.
Khan, okay, the Q is going to miss. There's a lot of damage from the Jace, but it's not quite enough. Faker with the phase rush looking for the follow-up, and he flashes in and picks up another huge kill for his team.
And now we're starting to see the snowball that Damwon found in the first couple of games used against them, right? They're getting caught left, right, and center. They're unable to match the pace that T1 has shown, and T1 keeps finding more and more of these objectives.
Oh, and this isn't even a fight you can take as Damwon. The distortion does nothing, and Faker gets a flank, but he's kind of all alone here. Can they take him out before anybody else gets over here is the question. The exhaust is going to be big. Takes him down. The shutdown will go to Ghost. As Kana comes over, though, and he's really the final boss, so Damwon not going to mess with him.
He's so fed that you can't go through the choke point. In fact, Keria is going to help him zone everybody else out, and that's going to be a guaranteed Drake here for T1. We'll see what soul we end up getting. So they're going to steal the blue. It's going to be Infernal Soul this game, which is absolutely massive for T1's composition. This game is off the rails, and T1 have such a nice advantage right now across the map. Like you said, Chronicler, they're using Damwon Kia's aggression against them. They're punishing the top side of the map. Now they're taking objectives.
And do mind you that this is a Damwon comp that is not out of the game yet, right? There is still an incredible amount of deathball and teamfight potential. And you mentioned how good that Drake would be as Khan overextending. The Scryer's ult got used as well, so he should be aware that someone was on his way. And she gets blown up. Not a lot to be done. Really nice turn here from Damwon Kia though.
This is such a great play from Faker to help lock them in. And yes, he does dive for this. He uses his teleport, but the Everfrost helps guarantee that there's so much follow-up damage there. And once Barrel gets that low, you just can't make the play anymore when Kana shows up. But yeah, I do agree with you. There's a lot of later game potential here for this comp for Damwon.
There definitely is. We'll have to see if it can ever get online. That's always the question. Both of these teams have been so strong with the leads that they have gotten. Damwon in the first couple of games, and now T1. I mean, they won in 21 minutes, and now we have this game. Like, this is, you know, honestly, a lot of us did not expect this strong of a showing, but T1 are coming up big in a couple, and we'll see what happens on the other side here. Showmaker, you know, he had a lead. He doesn't have it anymore. Faker ahead by a measly 52 gold, but, it's, you know, still at least parity. It's still a very scary rise.
And I think what you're looking for here as Damwon Kia is try and hit the second spike on both Showmaker and Khan. Khan, even with the lackluster start that he's had, has shown before that once the mid to late game comes around, he can still carry fights. Also went for the Gathering Storm, which means that even in later game scenarios as Damwon, I think you're going to be fine. The main issue that I've had with Damwon's play thus far is that, and this is something that generally doesn't happen against them, and I think T1 is doing exceptionally well, is that they are behind on the play. Generally, Damwon is very well aware of what is happening on the map, and we saw that they won every single cross-map play basically in game 1 and 2. And in this game, T1 is just out-trading them and continuously dictating the pace. And I talked about, yeah, you know, they have great engaging Kana. Carrier has flashed on top of people as Brom multiple times, just to make sure that the play happens.
And the composition from Damwon Kia is so extremely fragile. It needs a little bit of time to set up. And I'm not talking about items, I'm talking about just how you fight out these team fights. Yes, you can harass a Showmaker and get some damage done, but you're not fed enough to burst anybody down just yet. And if you do go in to T1's comp, you have to be ready. Oh, this is looking bad.
All right, this is a big encore though, but Stopwatch comes in once again. The damage not quite there. Carrier gonna get away, but here Khan, and then now Showmaker trying to come up as finally they do take out the Braum, and T1 is kind of zoned into the enemy jungle here once again. Faker though, full health. And they still have a Varus. They're able to kite away, so it's only the one kill. T1 do get the turret, but this is a lot of map control for Dom1. Let's see what they do with it.
Look at what happens even when T1 are in a position where they're caught, they're overextended. The fragile nature of Dom1's comp, as I was mentioning, means that there's so much of a turn potential there. Look at even what Gragas' damage looks like in this game, where he's building DPS, he's building AP. I mean, if you get hit by a Q from Varus and that Gragas barrel, you're dead.
Showmaker kind of playing with his food a little bit. Didn't necessarily have to stick around. It is Gragas after all, and he is going to have some nice sustain, but it is what it is. He has teleport. He should be fine.
And looking at the next Drake fight, I think is going to be pivotal for either team. Not just because it sets you up towards that Mountain Soul. As we take another look at the fight here, really nice flank. Getting Kana caught there is nice, but look at that block from Carrier to make sure. Combined with the stopwatch, however, he's still on their turrets. And the amount of damage available on Damwon Kia is still terrifying. If they overchased here though, Barrel just dies, right? That's a barrel on Barrel in combination with an arrow that almost takes him down.
That's what I'm talking about.
That was some good rhyming, by the way. Props to you on that one. Yeah, that was good.
But if you go into these fights, especially at this current state of the game, the longer they go, the better they go for T1. For Damwon Kia, you really need to have that explosive engage. You need to use your combos, or you got to get a lot of poke damage done before the fight starts.
And you know what? They have it in spades. There's a decent amount on the side of T1, though. You can see those barrels coming out the cask, but not as many landing. There's a really big shock blast, and also Showmaker's doing a good job of zoning them away, and every Infernal Drake is going to be huge. T1 got to be careful about this fight.
And let's not forget, there is so much sustain available for Damwon Kia with the Seraphine. Doesn't have the Moonstone finished quite yet, but once that is done, the poke from T1 in form of the Varus is going to become mostly useless, right? And yes, Kana can still hunt it to 0 people, but first Drake taken here by Damwon Kia.
Uh-oh.
or second one rather, first Infernal. Oh.
This is why it's, you know, game 3 aside, because game 3 was what it was. You give Damwon an inch, you got to be so careful. T1, they're still in a good spot, don't get me wrong, but it's just scary. We've been in this, we've been hurt before, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, we've seen Damwon do this before many times.
Damwon's ability to come back in games where their win condition is not the late game, their win condition is the early game. Even games like what we just watched in game 3, Damwon has come back and won games like that, and that's what's so terrifying about this team and why they do so well internationally. You put them in a really tough state, and some would even call it, you know, at that moment, unwinnable state for their team comp, and they still turn it around. And we haven't even hit that point just yet. There is a lot of potential with this poke. They have really strong engage as well. It's just managing how T1 controls the map, because the early part of this game has been all about T1 controlling the top side and controlling some of the macro. But as that slows down a little bit, Damwon have been able to make some plays of their own.
And I think a big important thing for T1 to take into account is how are you going to deal with Showmaker? And I think it's going to be up to Faker as well as Kana. They're the ones who have both the burst and the possible lockdown available if Showmaker goes for a play that's too greedy. Because if you just let this LeBlanc poke for free, I don't think that in late game scenarios, I call it poke, but it's Showmaker, so he probably just 100s to 0 someone's, and then you're very sad.
It's very true. And, you know, we go back to this draft. If you can negate a lot of the poke from the side of T1, and you can outrange them with stuff like the LeBlanc dashing in and out, you have Seraphine Ashe. If you can keep them at range, you're going to be a pretty happy camper. And we'll see if they can actually, you know, play into that win con, because T1, a great team in their own right. They've been able to start a lot of fights in this game on their own terms, basically. And if they can do that, there's still a lot of ways for T1 to win these fights.
Yeah, there's a lot of vision control for T1 right now being taken away from Damwon Kia. The problem is that that's not going to amount to anything at the moment with no objective control. And knows how much Damwon Kia are respecting T1 right now. They're not showing themselves on the map. They're not allowing themselves to be cut or clipped here. Not going to rotate in.
And in looking for the pillar. And you might say in this game, oh, Canyon, he's not really doing much. He was so great in the first couple of games. Where has he gone? But when you're playing Trundle, sometimes your job is just land good pillars and subjugate the right target. And we'll see what he'll be able to do with that, because the pillar is going to be so crucial for keeping the Rise away from your squishy lineup, as we have talked about before.
Owner thanking Kana for helping him out with the Grom. A little bit of friendliness there as... Oh, Guma.
Oh, but everything misses.
Yeah.
So Guma doesn't even have to use anything.
Guma also going for the Serpent's Fang, which obviously into a Seraphine is an incredibly nice itemization choice. Going to help them out a lot with taking care of some of this tankiness that's available. As Faker on a ward.
He's on a ward here, and he has no idea. Canyon, Ghost, and Showmaker all up on the top side. Flash comes in. You're not able to flash the pillar. Nice try, Faker, but not going to happen this time. And guess who they give the kill over to? 1001th kill. 1001st, I should say.
Living in Korea too long, Valdez.
Yeah, about that. But yeah, I mean, this LeBlanc is kind of getting out of control, and you can see that Owner and Kana not able to find anything on the bottom side either. Yeah,
and this is a big problem. Faker gets greedy, does get punished for it, and unfortunately, there's no getting out of this scenario once you're caught. He tries to get the Realm Warp, even flashing there. It's not going to be enough. As you're just kind of locked in place here. The pillar is so good. But he even uses his Zonias here to buy time, which is another tool he's not going to have for a few more seconds. But like you mentioned, there's no gain on the opposite side of the map for T1. And this is where the lead can start to crumble. This is where you could start to give a lot of extra gold away, give Damwon some of that vision control, which is going to lead to that poke hitting.
And this is starting to feel more reminiscent of game number 2, where there was an early lead for T1, but Damwon Kia, through a couple of key plays, have been able to slow down the game. I still think that T1 is a comp with incredible amounts of power, right? Like, it's not like this is something that Damwon Kia is going to get for free, but at the same time, Moonstone now finished. If Damwon Kia can set up shop in the river, maintain vision control, and hit their poke consistently, it's going to be a rough situation for T1.
They do have Prio on the Drake right now, though, and that vision control removed. Knows that Khan can't do a whole lot without getting closer here. T1, I mean, they don't want to walk into this. The big scryers.
It's kind of rough. I kind of like how Damwon are playing it. They know that T1 would like to get some good poke damage in and just force them away, but they're playing very far back, trying to avoid that damage. Arrow is going to come out. It hits the Braum, though. Not necessarily the target you're looking for. Showmaker going to flash in. The Encore does nothing. And T1 going to drink, and here's the engage. Down goes Barrel. And now the squishiness will come in for the side of Damwon Kia. They don't have that Seraphine, and Showmaker not going to be locked down, though. He will remain on full health. Carry up pretty low as well. Has got to be careful about doing that, but they will be fine. And T1 pick up the Infernal Drake.
Yeah, they have a control ward on the Baron, so there's no way for Damwon Kia to just go over there and sneak that one away. They're going to try to interrupt the back here. Does not really work out. But going back to that last fight, it was really another showcasing of how fragile Damwon Kia's comp is. When they don't have vision, they can't consistently poke, and when they do decide to walk forward and engage, the burst damage is there. Even after Kana tosses in a party cask, they still get an instant blow up on a single target, and that's what T1's comp is great at. Then you can't win that longer fight anymore.
Gumayusi's arrow is also hitting very true in that situation, meaning that the health bars were already relatively low. And if Barrel actually hits that Encore that finds the continuation of that skill shot, then they might be fine. I like that they wait out the Unbreakable up until the moment before they use that Encore to try and take the fight. But if you don't actually hit that, a lot of your damage is not going to really get there. And you also see the fact that Khan has been put on the back foot so much means the 2-item power spike on the Jace, it's not chunking as much as we've seen him do before. And with that Drake, it's 2-2 in Drakes. It's a small gold lead, but not one that is going to single-handedly carry on the game.
The turn here is so fantastic for T1 because they toss out the Chains of Corruption, and they're able to avoid that Seraphine ultimate. As you mentioned, she gets blown up instantly, and then you just have so much consistent damage in this follow-up fight. There's nothing that Khan could do. He has no vision. If he's tossed out a Shock Blast, he's really literally throwing a Shock Blast into the dark. And that's why those ward controls and having Drake Prio is so important for Damwon Kia. And T1 just barely have enough control over this game and enough of a tempo advantage that they keep that vision maintained.
And the key thing there is that Gumayusi also finds a Chain of Corruption, which is the reason why Barrel can't get out of that play, right? If he sees the Gragas walk up with Flash available generally, try to get the hell out of there. Unable to do so. And there's a bunch of big bounties available on T1, so they need to make sure that they maintain the cleanliness with which they've played thus far. Showmaker getting close to that Void Staff. And this is still an incredibly tense game. Like, I think that it is entirely execution dependent. Both teams have a lot of tools available. And normally, you know, you think Damwon, they're the most clutch team that we have generally within the LCK. But with how T1 is looking right now, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I mean, the question of the reverse sweep after Game 3 is always there, and coming out to a strong start with Kana as well, a guy who's been carrying so much for the team, kind of leading a lot of that pressure from Game 3. You have to kind of begin to believe in that dream here for the side of T1. But as you mentioned, things are very even in this game. Like, 3,000 gold, it is what it is. It's like 2,500 gold. They both have an Infernal Drake. There is a pretty huge gold gap in the jungle, but again, it's Trundle. He doesn't need a lot of items. He can kind of just throw down pillars and do his job. But still, this is a big Viego, and now they're trying to make a move here onto Khan, who is just going to flash away. Arrow and Encore going to sail wide into thin air as Showmaker looking for a little bit more. Damwon not backing off just yet, even though some flashes were burned.
T1 is playing around this comp so well. They're making Damwon Kia look like this just doesn't work. I mean, the way they are executing this, I mean, if that Chains lands too, you can actually follow up on this. They're going to start the Baron without the Encore. They feel confident with this one.
There's a lot of team fight tools taken away from Damwon, and T1, they have all their Fed members right in the front there, kind of waiting, threatening from the pit. And so is Baker. They're just going to root down Showmaker. The cask is going to do a ton of damage. Kana, though, taking a lot himself and even gets knocked up from the Baron. You can see Canyon here. He's incredibly tanky at this point in time, so he's just going to escort everybody away. He's going to tell the kids to stop fighting, and nobody's going to die on an extremely tense Baron try.
And the key thing here is either team has the time to go back and then vie for control, because giving over Soul Point to the T1 composition is terrifying with the amount of one-shot potential they have available. Same can be said for T1. A Chase, especially later in the game, gathering Storm, finishing the items, and getting an Infernal Soul or Showmakers LeBlanc are going to pop people. So both teams needs to get this next objective. And unlike the Baron, the Dragon damage not going to be that relevant like it was there.
Now, going into this fight, though, teleport coming through here for T1, they are going to have that prio. If they can remove that one blue trinket here, they're going to have a lot of control right now over the vision. And I feel like I've seen this before. Look, 2 control wards going down, and now Damwon Kia, once again, blind going into this fight.
Yeah, they just don't have much. You know, the Hawk comes out. They're trying to find whatever they can find, you know, a pillar here and there. But it's all cooldowns. You're not going to have sufficient vision, as you've been talking about, to really find and engage. But this Infernal Rift actually gives you some extra room, which is kind of funny to see. You know, Damwon are able to split up a little bit more and not just go through the choke here against a Braum and a Rise. But again, it's still T1 with total control, and they get another huge Drake under their belt. And Beryl he can barely even enter the fights.
It's not every day you see Damwon Kia hesitate around choke points like this, but their composition is so reliant on having that extra information. They don't have it, they can't make the plays, and T1 rush down the Drake. They're on soul point now.
Oh, Kana. You can see it, the Realm Warp is coming in. 4 members are coming out behind Damwon. Was that the right play? I'm not sure. Kauna's gonna go down, and it's not looking good for T1 now. They're trying to kite it out though. Canyon nearly dies, but the Subjugate is there, and T1, they're once again corralled into a really awkward spot against a poke comp. This is not where you want to be against Ashe and Trundle and Chase. They're all just going down one by one, and Damwon are just chasing them through the jungle. Not sure how many more they'll be able to get, but definitely some more chase potential from the side of Damwon. Looks like the speed of the Viego will be enough to get him away, but
Baron control.
They're just gonna go for the Baron because there's nothing that T1 can do.
And this is a pivotal turn. T1 though, they don't want to give it up. They're still there.
Faker, he tried to flash away from that one, and now he's just gonna die. Down he goes just like that, and Gumayusi not able to stick around. Owner's still here, and now with TPs coming in, I think Dom would have to respect it.
Key thing there is with the teleport. Yeah, there we go. Kana also using that on mid-wave. And now everyone has to back off with the TPs available. I think Damwon Kia themselves can also deny the Baron if T1 would go for that. But key thing there is, yes, a couple of kills, but still no break point in this game.
Oh man, this is just so insane. T1 from moment one. Remember, we go back to Faker's flash in game 1. They have no chill in this series. They will make every possible play happen. And despite the fact that they're on the wrong side of this team, but you can see how much power this poke has. You get on the back side of this, and it's kind of difficult for Damwon Kia to close the gap.
It's basically not playable. A beautiful encore after a couple of missed ones from Barrel means that the immediate decision-making from Damwon Kia, the snap second to engage on Kana, isn't part of the Realm War party. And then this play by Faker, all it needs to do, and all it does, is make sure that the Baron doesn't get taken. So it's still a win for T1, making sure that they don't lose that objective as well. But now, a couple of those shutdowns have gone over. More gold on the carries of Damwon.
And if you win that fight with the Realm Warp, if you actually blow up those targets and take Baron, you get an inhibitor. You know, you might be able to, at this stage of the game, actually win it off of that play and go to a game 5. So it's a high-risk play. Doesn't end up paying off for them, but they do stop the Baron. Gumayusi.
Oh man, just look at that poke. The cask is thrown at Canyon. He's like, yeah, whatever, dude. Just gonna run away from that one. The damage going out now on the Faker as the encore. Looks like it landed. Showmaker super low, but it's just his clone. And that's gonna be another pick onto the Rise, which is gigantic with this Baron available. Ghost in kind of an awkward spot. You can see that Damwon, okay, they're gonna start it up. They have the LeBlanc with the teleport available here to get back into the fight. This Owner trying to get something going onto Showmaker, not quite able to do that. The chains are just gonna chunk him so low. Take a look at that damage now onto Owner. He cannot get close, and it will be Baron for the side of Damwon.
You gotta get out of here as T1. You end up losing people here and the Baron. You might lose the game. Might be the end of your finals. Very tense moment there, but you saw the rotation come over from T1. They want to use that poke. They want to deny the Baron, but this time it's not enough.
And what a fourth game here between these two teams, because Damwon, it feels like ever since that play on mid lane came through where T1 tried to go and grab it all, it might have been the overextension, the one little piece of momentum that Damwon needed, right? As you can see, love the sidestep by Canyon there on the cask. If he gets knocked back into the turret, it might not work out. If Showmaker doesn't get the help from his team here with a beautiful encore through the wall, they might get blown up. Instead, though, they have the sustain to stay alive throughout this Baron fight, and look at this damage that comes through here.
It's just insane. Owner goes down to a third of his health bar instantly, and that's the end of that. You can't contest this anymore. Gumayusi is also below half health, so he can't come over and look to poke.
Yeah.
And now you've got Baron buff against you. Now total control of the map goes to T1.
So before that Baron fight, T1 had 4 control wards on the Infernal Drake that had, it was like 2 minutes away from spawning, right? And they knew where their bread was buttered. They're like, okay, if we can get Infernal Soul, we're probably going to win this game regardless of what happens. But they didn't have a lot of vision around the Baron. They were not able to quite get the engage they were looking for. And now, after that fight, Dom1 took away all those control wards. And now what are you going to do? The Encore's going to come in. This time, Canyon in a bit of trouble. Showmaker trying to help him out. The flash coming in, and now Owner's getting into that back line. Will he have the reset? Look at this Viego go wild now. As Showmaker going to take down his GA.
He's got a res, yeah.
And the poke is here. It's still here for the side of Dom1. The volleys rather are coming out from the Ash. And Faker says, okay, guys, let's just go and burst down the dragon.
They've got control wards. They can control this vision and this choke point.
The poke comes in, but again, at the same time, it's like you're on the opposite side of this poke. They're just trying to get the smite down on time and Wither coming in, but Showmaker has the damage, and he takes out 2, but the Infernal Soul will go the way of T1. Can Owner and Kana salvage it? No! Dom1 wins the fight, and they're teleporting to try to end the game.
36 minutes in, they win a fight. 2 risky plays on Realm Orbs back-to-back from T1 backfire. What a tragic way to go out. They had such a lead in this game. It started to fade. They lost vision control. Then they made 2 Realm Warp plays that did not pay off.
And it looks like the overextension from Dom1, right? Like they're diving underneath the turret into a Braum, into a composition with this much power, but I think they might have done it.
Looks like this is going to be it, guys. Game number 4 is going to go the way of Dom1. They just have to hit the Nexus, and Dom1 Kia will be your champions of LCK Summer 2021 in a devastating 3-1 victory.
Devastating. Great way to put it. In that last moment for T1, they desperately Realm Warp in mid. They desperately Realm Warp for that soul that could have turned this game on its head for them. They lost control of the map. Dom1 Kia staying strong, as we've been saying throughout this best of 5 in those late games with deficits. Their team fighting, their understanding of how to play the map is just superior to any team right now in Korea, and they are our big favorites going to Worlds from the LCK.
And Dom1 Kia, a 10th win for Coma. Gets it done. Khan in what is possibly, likely, his final game domestically within the LCK. Absolutely